What's all the P.M.S. with Coach G? It's positively motivating sisters with purpose, meaning, style. Are you ready for positive conversations inspiring you to your next level? Do you need motivation to get you growing? Are you a sister, woman, leader, boss, mom, wife, female, her, she? I think you know what I mean. Are you seeking purpose in your life? Do you know the meaning for which you stand? Do you know your style is your unique authenticator? If you answered yes to any one of these questions, this podcast is designed with you in mind, which embodies the whole you, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually. Sisters, we are on a journey in connecting you from where you are to your what's next with purpose, meaning, style, and it all starts with you. Hi, this is Coach G. Think of me as your chief P.M.S. cheerleader, motivating and wanting to see you win in your personal and professional life. Your connector, guiding you and bridging the gap from where you are to your what's next. I am your growth coach, empowerment speaker, mom, wife, Christian, and I get to serve you in doing what I am passionate about. You, sisters, we are on a journey for you living your life on purpose, for purpose, with purpose, meaning, style. So thank you so much for listening. As I always say, I never want to take that for granted. You could be listening anywhere else, but you stop to listen to this podcast, and I thank you. And so we are at the end of Women's Month as we have had conversations with women this month to, just celebrate on their journey and them empowering you on yours. So we are in episode 55, okay? And, even though I'm not going to say it's necessarily about Women's Month, but even as women, we go through things. And I mean, anybody in general, we all go through challenges, right? But episode 55 is about its life. So I'm going to tell you where that topic came from. Just recently, in this past week, my husband and I were sitting at the counter just eating and having a conversation, and I was in a very challenging part of my life. It was much like an interruption, because we have interruptions, and sometimes those interruptions are not comfortable. Sometimes they hurt. Sometimes you just want them to just go away. And as I was sharing and we were talking, and his response to me was not to be insensitive, but just to remind me it's life. Which at the moment, no, I didn't get upset. It really was an eye opener. It really was a moment where I realized, you know what, you're right, because life happens. And it brings me to an episode that I shared, which was episode 7. Yes. And I really want to play this recap for you. And the reason why I'm playing this recap is because, right before that conversation that I had with my husband, I was in a moment where I felt like I didn't want to, get up that day or move around or do anything. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't have the momentum. I did not have those things. It was not happening. But at the same time, I realized that is not the way to live life. And in that moment, I prayed, and and I said, okay, what do I do? Yes, I pray. Yes, I read, devotion and my Bible, all those things. But it was something, that I said, oh, I need to hear something, And I was led to go to my own podcast and listen to it. And I do listen to my own podcast, right? I'm going to be my biggest cheerleader. And so remember that, be your biggest cheerleader in your own life. Be your biggest cheerleader, because there are times in our life when we will have to encourage ourselves. Encourage yourself to take that step. And so the step for me was just play something. And so I'm sitting there and I'm, just talking to God, like I said, and like, where do I go? Where do I go? And I went to episode 7. And episode 7 was about life interruptions. And I played it, and honestly, I put my feet on the floor and I started moving. And so I want to play episode 7 for you, because we have to be reminded sometimes, yes, it's life, but there are things that we need to know or realize or remember as we navigate through our life. Just some important points in what I call PMS notes. So take a listen, and when we come back, I just want to close out with you, and let's just take a listen. Today's topic, life interrupted. What do you do? Okay, so we were talking about spring into action in this month. I always say let's think of a theme or have a theme in what we follow. And so, think about you're in action, you're moving, you're going, then all of a sudden life interrupted. What does that feel like? Sometimes we feel discouraged. Sometimes we want to give up. Sometimes we feel afraid because of the unknown. Recently we had a major storm where a tornado came through in our area. And so that was an interruption to my sleep, okay? Because I was resting very well and the sirens started going off and it was like, no, I don't want to move. So I just thought that was kind of fun to share. But as I talk to you about the PMS notes, it's going to reference in that point of talking about that storm. I want you to remember this. Sometimes interruptions are invitations for you to see what you were made of and know it's all bigger than you. Which brings us to the first PMS note. Realize, believe, and know it's bigger than you. During this time, what do? You seek purpose and meaning beyond the situation. I want to have a transparent moment with you. For me, June 5th, 2020, I had a wake-up call. I shifted from why me and why now to hearing God's voice, why not you? This is when I woke up and answered the call of God saying, it's bigger than you. It was bigger than me. It was bigger than my sickness, my troubles, my challenges, and my heartaches. It was my time to press my way into living on purpose, which involved connecting women to live with purpose in their why through coaching and motivational speaking, positively motivating sisters with purpose, meaning, style was birthed from that interruption. So bigger than me wanted to stay complacent in my bed sleeping, right? But the disturbance caused me to shift because it was bigger than me. So remember that what do? Believe and know and realize it's bigger than you. And then you have to trust the process. When things disrupt or interrupt our life, as hard as it may be, you have to trust things are working for your good. Even when you can't trace it, man, we have to trust God for Him to give us the direction on our journey and path. But let me talk about that in the moment of the storm. Okay, my husband was waking us up, and at that moment, regardless of the sirens and the strong storm and wind that you could hear, we had to trust the process of taking shelter would protect us. Then you have to develop the courage to change. Even when we have interruptions in life, we still must make an active decision to shift from maybe the emotion of fear to that of faith. And then faith gives you the courage to take the actions necessary to see change. And courage helps you move beyond your fear. Were we afraid in that moment? Did we feel that? We felt an uneasiness, but we knew that as we had taken the step to take shelter, we took the courage in knowing, in spite of that, we would be protected. Then you have to know this too shall pass. So, what do you do when life is interrupted? You have to know, you have to believe in your mind that this too shall pass. Think about it this way. When I say this statement, I know you've heard it. Trouble don't last always. And so you can say that's true. Think about it. Think about some things in your life or over time or things that have happened. You probably thought you would never get past it. And you did, and you grew from it, and you learned from it. But in the midst of that storm, we stayed in our place of shelter. And you know what? While all of that was going on, we were in our place of shelter, right? But in the midst of it all, you know what we were doing? We were laughing, we were talking. I was trying to actually go back to sleep because my husband made us all so comfortable in our place of covering. But we took comfort in knowing that this too shall pass. So, what did I say is true? Nothing stays the same. Because guess what? Eventually, we came out of that place of shelter. Things had passed. So sometimes we have life interruptions, or we have those interruptions like illness and heartaches and divorce, mental or emotional breakdowns, any kind of loss. It could be a loss of income, your job, loved one. But you know what? Life continues, which brings us to our last note. Know your life continues. How? You have to make the choice to thrive, not just survive. You have to make the choice. One of my favorite quotes is from Maya Angelou. She said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." It's not just enough to just thrive, but do it with some personality. Do it knowing that life still continues. So let's go back to the question. The question is, what do you do? So the P.M.S notes kind of gave you some ideas of things that you can do, and I'm sure there's so many other things you can do to stay encouraged, but I encourage you, whatever you do, continue. Continue learning, continue growing, continue taking the actions towards your dreams, no matter what you deem as too young or too old. Continue believing your life is bigger than any interruption, disruption, or corruption. Because remember, what did I state in the beginning? Sometimes interruptions are invitations for you to see what you were made of and know it's all bigger than you. Your life is significant, and ultimately, you must make the choice to live your best and blessed life through life's interruptions. So, sisters, this is not the time to shrink, but soar with purpose, meaning, style. Why? Because you can. And it all starts and continues with you. Okay, I hope it blessed you because it definitely blessed me on my journey this past week. But did you hear that sometimes, those interruptions are invitations for you to see what you were made of and know it's all bigger than you. And so we have to remember that. We have to remember that as we navigate through life. and just trust the process. And then have the courage to stand, have the courage to continue, and know that this too shall pass. And then the most important is life continues. And as you know, I'm going to close with this, with my husband saying, it's life. So, embrace every moment. See those interruptions as invitations for you to just see more about who you are and the strength that is in you. And so that's that part of us closing out with Women's Month. We talked about she is brave. So continue to be brave. Continue to show up in your life because you are the main character in your story. In the meantime, please keep sharing. Please keep sharing. Please send your comments, subscribe, rate, follow. And again, if you're in the process of, man, I need help navigating to my next, then that's what the one on one coaching services is for. And that's what I'm here for as your chief P.M.S cheerleader, your empowerment speaker, your growth coach, because I want to see you grow and empower you to win in every area of your life. And so you can go to the show description and see how we can connect and how we can continue to stay connected. Or go to the website, gstylecoaching.com. So I look forward to, our next episode and just the great things that are coming forth, because there is some great things coming forth. I was able to be a co-author with LIONESS Volume 2 with Dr. Monique Flemings and some other amazing women who are sharing their stories in this book. So again, you can go to my website to see that too, and get ready to order your copy. It's pre-sales in today, but you can still continue to order so that book can come your way. And then there's going to be some great things with that being said, but I'll just wait and hold off on that. So until next time, sisters, and saying all of that, let's keep growing because it all starts with you.